Palantir, by the way, hosting its 6th annual APICon, showcasing its AI platform and growing business partnerships, including a deal with Archer Aviation. Joining me now, Palantir co-founder and CEO Alex Karp. Alex, I want to just tell you, I got on the Alex Karp bandwagon late last year, but I'm glad I'm on it. You are absolutely phenomenal. Let's just start with today's event. You get a chance to strut your stuff. You're showing new tools, new capabilities, and a string of deals. Talk to us about that.
Well, first of all, a mutual fan. I'm very, very happy to be on your show and hope to see you in person. Yeah, look, you know, we've spent the last, especially last 5-6 years, being told we couldn't talk about how AI was going to transform the world. We couldn't talk about later large language models being a commodity that needed to be powered by software. We couldn't talk about the superiority of the West. We couldn't support our lethal institutions. I wasn't allowed to speak in public. Everybody thought they should get rid of me. And, you know, it's like part of what we're doing is showing off what we're doing with our partners who are among the very, very best in the world. Part of what we're doing is saying, look, this is how we won. If you want to win, this is what you do. We're in a unique phase at Palantir because there's just a lot of people that realize we were right, and we have all this infrastructure. So, you know, people have tried large language models because, you know, various people. I mean, Silicon Valley's done an amazing job. First, it convinced the world we should build wasteful, carcinogenic apps. Then it convinced the world we shouldn't be pro-America. Then it convinced the world large language models, which, you know, are a great scientific experiment, are valuable. Meanwhile, we're modestly sitting here saying, yeah, that tooling doesn't work. Those views don't work. Your country will fall apart. Your enterprise won't work. Or you could buy Palantir's very fairly priced software and win. And that's what, I mean, it's like, at this point, we have an avalanche of demand, especially in the U.S. What is concerning for the world is the avalanche of demand, and what we're seeing in the U.S. is, at least as of last year, you know, U.S. commercial grew roughly 54%, and European, continental Europe grew 4%. So this is a tale of two cities. I really hope that at some point Europe gets off the, if we don't build it, we can't buy it, bandwagon of failure. But one of the trends that I see is that there's like, people assume that there's a pendulum and it'll swing back, whether that's the Democratic Party or that's European tech. And I believe there's a pendulum that's swinging hard and faster, and it's not going to swing back. And our partners believe it too, which is why they're just buying our product.
You know, Alex, it's interesting you say that because your stock has become something of a proxy for that debate you just talked, the sort of debate that you talk about. And obviously, of late, it's been under a little bit of pressure now. I watched really closely last week. The stock had made a really big rebound, and then that evening, Mongo posted their results. One of their highly profitable contracts, apparently with the government, won't be renewed, right? So Doge out there, that same day they showed the wasteful spending at HUD and just how crazy it was. So now the speculation is that Doge will have a negative impact on Palantir, although fans of your company who loved your company long before I did, tell me no, this actually is a positive for Palantir.
Well, look, at Palantir, we're very focused on what will make the West superior. In the commercial space, mainly here on the battlefield. So even if it were for Palantir, I think bad for Palantir, I'd be in favor of it. I mean, but you know, I mean, how often have critics of Palantir been right? And you know, it's like, look, buying, if you want to reform an institution, whether it's commercial or government or anything, what is the first thing you're going to do? Change the unit economics, make the customer experience better. How are you going to do that realistically in the West? You're going to buy the best software and implement it. Who are you going to buy from? So, I mean, like, and I love that we have all these skeptics. They just can keep on. The skeptics, as annoying as they are, you know, just come out and tell the venture community how much we're going to fail. It's like, but for the somewhat idiotic skeptics of Palantir, we would probably be competing with 50 companies. So please amplify your skepticism. Palantir is very pro-Doge. I'm pro-Doge. I believe it's going to be great for America, and I'm supportive of it. And, you know, read into that what you will.
Right.
But, you know, America's going to become more lethal, more economically strong, and we're participating in that, and we're thrilled. And again, on the non-Doge front, does anyone doubt we're doing well in U.S. commercial? I mean, all these same skeptics are like, it's like completely ridiculous.
Right.
Somebody's got to score these skeptics. You're like, oh, Palantir's a service company. Palantir will never have a commercial product. Oh, Palantir will win, but it's only with one administration. Oh, Palantir's got the best product, but Karp's too crazy. Or Palantir would just shut up about the West being superior. Their sales will go up. It's like, at what point is there a scorecard? And again, I would encourage people in every institution we want to reform. What did the person say? How often were they right? How are they doing? And you've got to heavily index against that. But again, no matter what you think about what's happening in the U.S. government, I'm supportive of it. Look at what we're doing in commercial. Can you even open the newspaper and not see one of the greatest companies in the world in America partnering with Palantir? It's crazy. And I've never seen anything like this in the last 20 years being involved. And honestly, the part I love is that we're winning. The part I love almost more is that we're getting to do our usual humiliate the critics of Palantir dance, and it makes my life a lot of fun.
By the way, I love when you humiliate the critics. I built my entire career being contrarian. I wouldn't have even started my own research business if I thought Wall Street was doing it right. And then, by the way, they never change because they're too elitist to change. You've referenced, the business, the U.S. supremacy, the West, and this is all all part and parcel of your new book, which, by the way, #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. I just took some points out of the letter, your most recent letter, because it sort of matches what's in the book. And I just want to bring this to you. So one line that really is amazing. The unfortunate thing, either in business or politics, is that many of one's adversaries and antagonists will never respond to anything but strength. It feels like you're not only talking about business, but also what's happening with America right now, and maybe the Trump administration, and what some see as a heavy-handedness toward the rest of the world, but maybe that's the only thing they'll respond to.
Look, there are people who believe that strength works, and there are people who work in the Berkeley faculty, and it's like so obviously true, and it's the only thing that works. Everything else is some form of intellectual self-pleasuring. America is the greatest experiment, the greatest country that has existed, and we must support it and make sure the inside and outside, meaning the internal economy and the defense of it, are the world's best. And Palantir's role in that is something that makes me super proud. And the fact that the book has done so well.
Let me just ask you,
well.
I want to jump in here because the clock is ticking on me a little bit here, and you're pretty decisive about the different cultures out there, Western culture in particular, perhaps saving it. You've already said to Europe out loud here, hey, you hope they wake up, they get their sort of epiphany. There's another line from the letter. As Sam Huntington has written, the rise of the West was not made possible, quote, by the superiority of its ideas or values or religion, but rather by its superiority in applying organized violence. Again, I love it. I think it's straightforward. You take heat for this sort of thing, but is it something that we have to come to grips with? Is this adult thinking?
Well, it's thinking of a culture that wants to thrive and survive, pays attention to the basic reason people are listening. America's ability to organize violence in a superior way, and then use it in a much more moral way than any other country would, given its ability to do this, is the single reason why the world improved over the last 70, 80 years. And then there's, again, a commercial version of this. It's like, if your company is not able to produce the best product in the most expedient way, people are not going to listen to your marketing. One of the biggest problems that institutions have is they're like, well, this is a marketing problem. No, it's an underlying fundamentals problem. Your marketing can be pretty damn bad if your fundamentals are great. Witness Palantir's rise. And so, on the government side, it's about having superior organization and implementation and moral. And by the way, there's a moral good to how do you do it of violence, as Samuel Huntington said. And on the business side, is your business demonstrably superior? Is your product superior for the customer? Is it superior for your investor? Meaning it's the best product in absolute terms, and it's being produced in the absolute most efficient way inside your company. And people who want to have a big stick and talk quietly will be very focused on the internal dynamics. Those that want to have a loudspeaker and have everyone ignore them will focus on some kind of marketing that isn't working anymore.
Right.
And witness institutions that are failing, whether it's Europe's failure, the Democratic Party. You can look at all these things. They're failing for very, very simple reasons, which is no one believes the underlying dynamics of what they're saying is going to create more value than what you put into the actual instrument. And that's a very basic business principle, but it's also the principle by which nations survive and thrive or disappear.
Alex, thank you very much. I do hope to meet you really soon in person again. You've jumped really high on my list of heroes, and Americans should buy that book, pay attention to it, because the cross currents between business and this race for survival and American exceptionalism is real. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.